Good evening guys, I welcome you all to another price action video for the 10th of March 2022, and today you might get to hear some disturbance at my side. There is certain disturbance outside, external factors I can't help them. So let's get on with the video now here. Okay, today was a completely no trade day for me. I do not trade on say exit poll days or when election results are going to be out or whenever there is important press conference or even a budget day. I don't trade on such days. I know that no levels will be respected on those days and price action will be absolutely random and out of control on those days. So I never take a risk. So I also suggest you all to follow the same things, but if you can handle such days, then all power to you and I'm glad for you. So having said that, now let's get back to analyzing Nifty as we already do. Now today was a big gap up. In parts it was expected, but let's see what the gap up was. So the day opened here, okay, the top of the high of the first red candle. Now the open was 16757.30 and that was the high. So it was an open is equal to high kind of a candle. Let's see, around 460, I'm sorry, the day high, right? So around 340 points here. So you can see that Nifty gapped up around 340 points, but I was pretty certain right since the morning that Nifty was not going to sustain that gap. So I was not sure how much it will fall, but I was very sure that it would not sustain that gap. And then the first candle here, it was a completely confusing candle. The first candle, what could you call this candle? It has such a large wick on the bottom and a fairly strong body on the top, so neither bullish nor bearish. So here bulls and bears were uncertain where price was going to go, but one thing was for certain, that price was not going to go much higher than this level. Okay, I was pretty certain that the high was not going to be broken. That was one thing I was certain. Anyway, I had this level marked yesterday, 16768.80, and then I have another supply zone marked here as well. And again, this particular black line that you can see here is the gap, is where the gap starts. So you can see this arrow here, the blue arrow, that's the gap that you can see. So this is where the gap is. So this entire area here is the gap. Okay, and here that is why I was sure that above there are strong resistances and price would find it difficult to break those resistances. At best it would have gone a little bit further and filled the gap, but again I was not very sure about that either. Here beneath we had the Virgin CPR coming from the 4th of March 2022. That is what we have marked, and now you can see this level here. This is where this is where Nifty took support. So this was the top Virgin CPR, and around the central Virgin CPR here, the central pivot, it took support. Again here it took support and it bounced from here, and then from here you could see that Bank Nifty fell, then Nifty fell, took support, then bounced. Again it kind of gave some zigzag moves, and then from here it fell down. Then again you can see here that Nifty took support at the top CPR, then again went up, and this play was going at around the R2 pivot. You can see the R2 here, this is the R2 pivot, and you can see the action going around at the R2 pivot, and then here it kind of spent some time and then it collapsed from there. Now it collapsed from there. Why? I'll tell you why. Because here we could see that price had bounced, right? Here you could see that price had bounced. Now what do you see here? Ask yourself, what do you see here? You can see that price has bounced from this particular area here. So who are sitting here? There are buyers sitting here, obviously, and buyers were not allowing price to drop below this zone. Why can I see that, or why can I say that? I can say that because of this bounce here, and this particular bounce here. That is why I can say that this base here that price created, it could not actually bounce from there much, but you could see that there was this pin bar there. So that is why that level initially could not be broken, and then You know my technique already, you know, we discuss in every video. You're supposed to mark this low here, and when sellers were successful in pushing the price down to that level from here, you could see that this is a very strong red candle, another strong red candle, and then the sellers were ready to or able to push the price out of the current day's range. And out of the current day's range, there are buyers sitting here who had bought here at all this in this entire level, and buyers now were panicked once this candle was formed. In panic, they looked to close all their positions, and that's why price fell. And then we had already marked the level of 16455.90, where price took support and then gave another bounce from there. So I was very sure that price was going to trade in a range and be a very volatile day today, and that is the reason why I tend to not enter markets on such days, because nothing works in the markets. And you can see here right from the first candle in Nifty, it is such an inconclusive candle. Who are strong here? On the top, sellers are strong because it's a open is equal to high candle, but then you have a very strong bottom wick, which suggests that buyers are there. Then again buyers are strong here, then again buyers are strong. So you can see here that within this, I'll just mark it, okay, for you. So you can see here within this zone how much strength the buyers were having. Let's mark this zone here. Okay, the buyers were going from the bottom and the sellers were going from the top, and it was literally a tennis match going on today. So that is how the day unfolds on such event days. The Virgin CPR was broken, so let's delete that first. Let's delete all these levels first, and you can see that price reacts so beautifully to exactly those same levels that we mark. Let's see the bounce here. What is the bounce like? So the bounce from this low to this high is nearly 180 points. That's so big in Nifty. I do understand that these days every time there is a lot of volatility, every time you are trying to trade in the market, but still 180 points is quite big in Nifty. And the bounce tells us that there is a demand zone which we had marked prior, but that was not a demand zone that we had marked. See, we had marked the supply zone coming from the 4th of March. So as I have told you in every video, or I'm telling it again for the new watchers or the new subscribers that have joined me and who need to know this, in technical analysis, whenever you see a supply zone, let's call it SZ here. So let's say there is a supply zone, and when if this is the supply zone, okay, this is the supply zone that we have marked from the coming from the past, and when price comes and hits it from the top, that supply zone now acts as a support. So initially it is a supply zone because price has taken a fall from there, but now that price is coming from the top here, it will act as a strong support. And similarly, if there is a demand zone, okay, if there is a demand zone, that means that there is a zone, say here for example, where price has initially bounced, okay, and now the demand zone is extended like this, okay, but then price the next day gaps down severely and it kind of goes up here and hits this area. Now this area will act as a resistance. So demand zone can act as a resistance. So that is how it goes in technical analysis. And also support becomes resistance is the most important term in technical analysis, or the analogy in technical analysis that you all must remember. Here we can see that the demand zone should be marked, just extend this line upwards a little bit, and we will mark the demand zone with a box here. All of you who have been following me since a long time now know that the boxes are very helpful. We always mark zones, isn't it? So we don't mark just lines, we mark zones, and now we already have this particular level marked, which is the 16768.80. So what we can do is we can just mark a box on the top here since price has fallen from there, and that is the kind of box that we mark, which is the supply zone now. Okay, and yes, there is a Virgin CPR coming from yes, it is coming from the 9th of March, which we will extend here like this. And we also have Virgin CPR. Let's mark that zone also. See, we'll mark this zone like this. This is the Virgin CPR coming from today, Virgin CPR, for all you new watchers, is that CPR where price has not touched on one particular day. So you can see that there is no price action within this area. There is no candle close like this within this area. So when there is no candle close, it's called a virgin CPR for the subsequent or the following sessions. Okay, and we have a fairly narrow CPR tomorrow. Let's see what the size is. It should be around 25 points. So it's a very narrow CPR for tomorrow, suggesting that there might be some sort of a trending day, or we might look for breakouts tomorrow if we can. So we'll see. Don't just keep a very firm opinion about it, but ensure that you are watchful for those levels. Okay, there is one more level that I see here, this level here, right? And you can see a lot of price action around this level. We can mark that level for the next session to come. We'll see how that level plays out tomorrow. See, you can see that price took support around this area here, then it took support around this area, then it was broken by this candle here, and then again here it provided resistance. So that level has been a busy level today, so we will keep a watch on that level now, and we will keep that level ready for tomorrow. Okay, so I think that will be all for Nifty's price action analysis for today. Let's see what Bank Nifty shows us. Okay, another day with volatile price action here as expected, but Bank Nifty at least opened with a particularly one-sided candle. It was a very strong bullish signal that we got. And where was it taking support initially? It was taking support exactly at the weekly pivot. Now you don't see this line here, but I have marked a yellow line here. That is the weekly pivot. And maybe you see it on video, maybe don't, I don't know, but that's the weekly pivot there. So Bank Nifty was taking support at the weekly pivot, and right on top of it was the virgin CPR from the 4th of March. And since Nifty was not showing any particular bullishness in the first candle, and since Nifty was showing a very confusing price action signal there, it was of no use going long on the first candle itself. So there was no real trade entry anyway today. You can see the kind of price action that was there today. There was really no proper signal there. One signal could have been where, had this particular low here been retested, then we could have seen if there was another long entry there. But going long on such a huge candle anyway, this is a bad idea, because this is the kind of SL that you are going to take then. Such a large, huge SL, which is never a recommended thing to do. And again, there was an immediate virgin CPR right on top of it. So it is advisable that you do not take any particular entries on such days. So anyway, you could see that these levels were marked here. You could see the level of the 35331.20, and that is exactly where Bank Nifty took resistance. This level was already marked. It shot from here to there, to that level, and then it took some resistance, some massive resistance there. It tried to break it, spent so much time there, but then it was pushed down again. And let's see what was the range in Bank Nifty today. So let's mark the range in Bank Nifty. It was almost 1160. That was 1160 points. That is the kind of move that Bank Nifty has been making daily nowadays. It was again around the weekly pivot. So you can see that line. If you cannot see that line, I'll just mark it for you here. See, this is the weekly pivot, and then you can see the kind of price action around that weekly pivot. So much price action, so much time prices spent there, and so much price action around that area there. So okay, you might ask me whether a breakout from the virgin CPR is something that you should have taken here. Then no, definitely not, because one, that is not one of my strategies. I don't take breakouts on virgin CPR. I take only reversals. So if you are following my strategies, then we don't take breakouts, we take reversals. And secondly, the 35331 level was a very strong level coming from the historical price action that we had marked. So obviously there was no long trade there. because that level was not convincingly broken by that candle. And here you can see that Bank Nifty fell severely from this point, which with large red candles, and then it took support exactly at the R1 pivot here. It could not break the R1 pivot, so that becomes an important uh, day low today. That is for tomorrow. So that is the previous day low for tomorrow. Okay, I don't think there's much to explain in this apart from what we've already discussed. Now let's go ahead and mark levels in Bank Nifty. Let's delete these levels. See, we can see that this blue line, which was the 35331.20 level, was not broken at all anyway. So that level is important. So that level will not be changed. We will not even handle that level anymore right now. It is a very important level. So we'll just mark a box around it and we'll strengthen it even further. Okay. And we'll just delete this label from here. This Virgin CPR meant nothing. It goes, and the box goes, and we will mark this, we'll just extend this 9th of March Virgin CPR forward, and we'll mark a fresh Virgin CPR coming from today's price action. Alright, here's the level. We will also mark a level here, since today price, after falling so much, could not break that level. So you could see that that level of around 34,220 is an important level. We'll mark that area and leave it at that. We can see that it's a average sized CPR in Bank Nifty. I would not say that it is a narrow CPR by any means. It's around 270 points, but Bank Nifty has been making wild moves these days, so be careful tomorrow. These supply zones will definitely be extended, and this is a Virgin CPR, although a fairly narrow Virgin CPR, but we can just extend this. This is coming from the 23rd of the 2nd of March 2022. Okay, we have nearly all other levels marked here. These levels are coming from historical price action. We also have the gap marked here, so also keep that gap ready in your charts. All these levels I post daily on Twitter, so ensure that you are taking down these levels from Twitter so that you can mark them on your charts also. That is it for today's price action analysis and important levels for the 11th of March. If you've liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and also hit the bell icon so you're notified each time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and thank you for your patience, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.